Hey, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be upcycling this pair of shoes using Angelus leather paint. I've never painted a pair of shoes before, so I'm really excited for this project. I've seen some similar projects and thought I'd try it myself. I've got a really specific design in mind. I'm going to turn these plain white loafers into red leopard print stunners. Oh yeah, my craft table. She's an old gal and she's been through some stuff, alright? Here are my supplies. I've got some flat white paint, which I was planning to use for a primer, but I don't need that because my shoes are white. I've got some red paint and then a few little bottles of accent colours. And finally, to finish, I've got some acrylic finisher, which I'm going to use to give a really nice protective coat to the shoes. Here are the brushes. I didn't have any single brushes at home, so I bought a pack and they've got a few different heads so I can achieve a few different looks with them. Step 1 is to prep. I'm using this nail varnish remover pad just to take off any remnants of a protective coat on the paint that exists already, just so that my new paint will adhere to the shoe really well. Unfortunately, this also took some of the nail varnish off my actual nails, but never mind. Here are the shoes looking pristine. Step 2 is protect. I'm using frog tape to cover all the bits I don't want to paint. This was really tedious, and so I'm going to jump straight to the shoe all taped up. Voila! And using this really inventive and perfectly executed cut, we jump again to both shoes taped up. It's like a professional made this video. So here I go, pouring paint, cracking out the paint brushes, and making the first tentative brush strokes. Pay close attention to the amount of red paint on the lid that's serving as my palette. I'll come back to that later. I'm going straight in with red as the shoes are already white, so a white base coat isn't needed. The instructions on the bottle advise that multiple thin coats are better than a couple of thick coats. There's more even coverage and it's longer lasting. So I'm going in with a very thin first coat. I'm really impressed with the coverage. The first coat barely makes a dent in that tiny little pool of paint I poured a second ago. Is it me, or is seeing the red cover the white really satisfying? Time to move on to the second shoe whilst the first shoe dries. Oh, look at that, I've done it again. You can paint a second light coat between 15 to 20 minutes later, so I'm working on them alternately. This is what the finished first coat looks like when wet. And here I am going in again with another coat. You can see an immediate difference with the second coat, and it was at this point that I started to really enjoy the project and feel a bit more confident about it. It looks really vibrant when the brush strokes are hidden. After 4 light coats with half an hour in between each, the shoes were ready to dry overnight. And this is what I came to the next morning. I was seriously so pleased at this point and so excited to get into the detail. Now I'm going to use the other colours. So I used the dark red to paint some circular splodges. These will be the basis of my leopard print pattern. Initially, I thought this second red might not be dark enough, but it does actually dry darker than it appears when it first goes on, which is good. Once the red splodges are done, I start the first coat of gold. I want to pick at the braided detail and the leather strap that it sits on in a gold for a really nice glam detail. I bought these shoes from an online pre-worn site for 13 quid. I thought that was pretty reasonable for Hush Puppies as they're a quality brand, and I later saw another pair of Hush Puppies on an online charity shop site for 50 quid, so I was well pleased with these. I chose a really comfy style to offset the kind of wild paint job that I had planned. Next, I'm applying a coat of black to the top of the shoe. I'm using my finest detail brush for this to minimise any black on red mistakes. This was the slowest, longest part of the project because I really wanted to do a good job and I knew mistakes would require several coats of red to rectify, so I took my time with this. Here it is so far. You can see some little white patches which need fixing up, so I need to give them some attention, but it's looking pretty good so far. More black paint, and this time it's to add the distinguishing detail to the red splodges, to elevate from said red splodges to dramatic leopard print. After doing this to both shoes, it was immediately apparent that one shoe had more splodges than the other. Still, that's easily addressed, and I'm adding some more detail here to even them out a bit. Another look and more white patches that I've missed. Still, I'm so happy with how they're looking so far. For some reason, possibly impatience, but I would rather call it eagerness, okay? I took off the frog tape before I went in with finishing touches. I've now reached the point where I just need to see the shoe in its entirety, so off comes the frog tape. It all went uneventfully and no paint from the shoe went with it. After some finishing touches, we've gone from this to this. I'm really ecstatic with how this project turned out. Let me know in the comments what you think. I haven't applied the finisher yet because I'm letting them cure for a few days. Oh, I love my wild customised shoes. Have a great day and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!